The bird looks down to the surface of the water at the ship's base. Otherwise, we may fall into the trap of the never-ending cycle of always wanting more, but never finding satisfaction. This is the medicine of the people of the Loon. The Loon? Asked Dragonfly. Aye, 'tis I, Loon. Loon spreads his wings and nearly slips from the ship, regaining his footing as he goes on. Our song of the misty waters and twilight radiates feelings in those that listen, feelings which are unique to their own inner feelings. What does that mean? Dragonfly asks, looking at Loon. What you hear in the Loon song is unique to the individual. Two can hear the same song from the same Loon at the same time and hear a completely different song. Dragonfly pauses a moment. Depending on what they are feeling, he asks. Exactly. Loon looks toward the quickly disappearing fruit now in the far distance. It is of a dinner and its consequences. So the story goes. The Nipmunks were populous in the lands upon the river, where they skillfully tilled the fields, and where their earthworks on the hill provided them with a refuge in case of invasion. Their chief, Quinetiset, had his lodge on the site of the temple in this land. They believed that Chogagog Pond was paradise, the home of the great spirit and departed souls, and that it would always yield fish to them as the hills yielded game. They were fond of fish, and would barter deer meat and corn for it with Narragansetts. Now, these last-named people were water-loving people, and to this day their fishing fire, a column of pale flame, rises out of Quinnebog Lake once in 7 years, the same as those who have watched beside its waters through the night. Knowing their fondness for bluefish and clams, the Narragansetts asked the Nipmunks to feast with them on one occasion, and this courtesy was eagerly accepted. The up-country people distinguished themselves by valiant trencher deeds, but alas, that it should be so. For they disgraced themselves when, soon after, they invited the Narragansetts to a feast of venison at Killingly, and quarreled with their guests over the dressing of the food. This rumpus grew into a battle in which all but 2 of the invitees were slain. Their host buried them decently enough, but grass would never grow above their graves. The Great Spirit avenged this treachery soon after, when the Nipmunks had assembled for a powwow with accessory enjoyments, in the grassy vale where Mashapog Lake now reflects the charming landscape, and where, until lately, the remains of a forest could be seen below the surface. In the height of the revel, the god struck away the foundations of the hills, and as the earth sank, bearing the offending men and women, waters rushed in and filled the chasm, so that every person was drowned, save one good old woman beneath whose feet the ground held firm. Loon Island, where she stood, remains in sight today.